All right, everybody. Oh my God, this is your main man, Anthony Brogdon, coming at you strongly, stronger, because I want you, my brothers and sisters around the world who are watching me, to hear some, what I call it, good Black history, as told by the people who know because it has maybe been a part of their family. Maybe they are scholars who have researched this, or maybe it happened to them personally. But in any event, I bring, because I have been lucky to find these people, I bring them to you, and I just do my very best to ask some intelligent questions. All right, my friends, you know who I am. I'm Anthony Brogdon, and I'm your dude. I'm that guy for you. I'm not playing with you. We are over 400 videos. And this is my mission, everybody. I'm going to keep finding these people through the luck of God, and then I'm going to bring them to you succinctly. So hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations. It's free to watch this. Hit the like button on this video because there is no love button, and I know you're going to love what this sister's got to tell you. Let me tell you, my friends, I was at a function the other night. So, some jazz. I like jazz. And she was sitting at the table next to me. Her and a friend of hers, they're good-looking sisters, too. I ain't going to lie to you, my friend. And so I just happened to say something like, hey, I got this book, and I'll tell you about the book in a minute. You know where I got this book. And she said, let me tell you this story I got to tell you. And it's on and popping. It happens that way sometimes. And then hit the notifications bell when the new videos come up. You get a ding, a shock, you get a smoke signal, something to let you know that there is new information on Strong Inspirations. Did you see the one I did with the lady who integrated a school in Gainesville, Florida in 1965, and them white kids tried to kill her? She went to the principal's office, and the principal said, hey, I ain't gonna let you use the telephone. This need to be a sign to you to go home, go back to the black school. She stumbled across the street. She called her dad. Dad come get her. 5 days later, he says, hey, you ain't got to go back to that school. She said, they can't stop me. There have been people in our history like her. You cannot stop them. Did you see the one? And that sister made me cry. And after through all that, she ended up getting her doctorate degree. Did you see the one I did with the lady out of, I think, Mississippi? She plans those marches down there back in the 70s or whatever, and had one. And the sheriff called her the night before. He said, hey, I can't protect you. I think you should not do this. She said, it's too late. I done prayed to the Almighty. He told me, go for it. So the white guys and whatnot, they on the roofs with their guns and rifles and that kind of thing. There was a brother in that march with her, my man, the pastor, whatever, but he got to have his gun too, just in case. He took his gun and laid it at the feet of one of them white guys and said, hey, I'm here in love. And the white guy had to shake his hand. Watch that video. I got a bunch of them on here. I got one more. I'm on this kick. Did you see the one I did with the white guy who found out his grandfather was in the KKK and killed the guy? And when he found this out, he said, I never spoke to him again. He said there were white people that jumped on him for his beliefs. Scroll down the list of the videos and watch the ones that you like to watch. I got them somewhat categorized. You're going to love what this lady's got to tell you, my friends. She's compassionate about it. When we talked about it the other night, she got to telling me, and I got to, hey, babe, I'm here to hear the jazz, but I focused on her for a good while. I like this. So watch the videos. Hit the subscribe button and do this too. Watch my movie, everybody. I'm not playing with you. In later in life, I might have been in my 30s, 40s, or something like that, was I found out there were enslaved black folks who owned businesses. And as a result of that, I decided to do this documentary. And it's streaming on Amazon. It's called Business in the Black, The Rise of Black Business in America. Then I took it one step further and I did this book, and the book is good. I'm not playing with you. I make, and let me tell you something, I'm not the kind of historian that I think I know everything. So I add no commentary. I just let the facts stand on their own merit. Then I give you the reference section to tell you where to go find more information. The book is good. It's called Black Business Book. Get a copy of this. It's on my website and streaming on Amazon. And then I got a children's book out. I'm waiting on them to come back from the printer. I got to get this information out there to you, my friends, one way or the other. It's titled They Did It. So get you a copy of They Did It. It's 30 black business owners who lived in the 1800s. It's colorful and stuff like that. It ain't no big words in it because it's for kids. Get you a copy of that. Do it today. And both all this makes, because of the time of season, great Christmas gifts, but do it anyway. Do it before Christmas. Don't wait to be enlightened, my friends. Lastly, if you may know, I got a movie coming out titled They Did It. It should be out Black History Month in America, February. This thing is, the train has left the station, my friends. And so with that, the train, and my favorite word is strong. Strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. And that is my introduction to my guest today. She's a strong soul sister. Come on, ma'am. Introduce yourself. Thank you for being on Strong Inspirations.
Hello, my name is Naima Shamborguer, and I'm a jazz singer from Detroit, Michigan. And I love jazz too. I'm a part of the jazz community here and the national and international jazz community. But I met this young man the other day and he showed me his book and I looked, I went, wow, that looks really interesting. And he started talking to me. I said, well, I have a story. In fact, my story went on to me being able to write a grant for music for a group I have called Sister Strings, because my great-grandfather was a slave. He played the violin. He would go from town to town and play the violin during slavery. And then he ended up being an escaped slave.
All right, before we get to that, I got to do this. I do this with everybody. Let me just ask a couple questions about yourself. Where were you born and raised?
Detroit, Michigan. Detroit.
Where is the Detroit is, everybody y'all might not know, or might not know. Detroit is predominantly a black town. Did you grow up in a all black neighborhood? Did you know any white kids at any point?
When I grew up, it was all black neighborhood. The doctors, lawyers, dentists, everybody lived in our neighborhood. We did everything in our neighborhood.
Okay.
It was a wonderful. I was a West Sider, Detroit West Side.
Mm-hmm. Where's where y'all come from in the South? Where's the Southern connection?
My mother's from I'm sorry, Altima, Arkansas, and my dad is from Georgia.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
How did they get to Detroit? Why Detroit? Do you know?
Well, my father's family came here during the Depression, and my grandfather found work. When they first came here, they lived in an apartment with to heat the apartment. They had a big kettle with hot water and like a little furnace up in there. So they came. My mother's family came here. They all came at the same time. They started doing like an exodus from Arkansas. They worked on the railroads. Some of them ended up in Chicago, but most of them ended up in Detroit. They had. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
My grandfather did lots of different types of jobs. And he ended up working for the city of Detroit. He was on the garbage trucks that would, go pick up the garbage.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And from there, one of my uncles ended up doing the same thing. But our family, because of the music is what helped our family a lot. We have college graduates in our family. It's everyone was highly educated.
Was there any strife for them to leave Arkansas, or just a better opportunity?
Better opportunity. Yes, it was just a better opportunity to leave. And so they all left. And I have a photograph of the entire family just before they left to come up to come north.
Now,
But they ended up in Kansas City first. And then they moved on to Detroit, Michigan.
What was how did they get here? Do you know?
Train. They came on the train.
Mm.
As far as I know, that's how they
Yeah.
got here. I remember when we were growing up that's the way a lot of our family came to Detroit, was on the train, and they had on the black section of the train.
Yeah.
That's how they got here.
Oh, okay.
But they ended up in Kansas City first. And some of them, like my uncles, were porters on trains. And then later on, they ended up in the city too.
Yeah.
One of my other uncles, once he got here, he and his wife opened up a cleaners, the first black cleaners, black owned in Black Bottom.
Really?
Yes. And they had that cleaners for years. He ended up being a minister.
Hmm. Well, the town you said, Arkansas. Have you been there?
Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
I've never been there. No. They never went back. They never went back. My father's town in Georgia, he went back once with my mother, but he couldn't find the family. But he tells us the stories how they used to go and meet his father at work. And his father, he worked in the cotton fields. And so my dad and his brothers would go and wait for him to get off of work when they would go into this large building where they stored all the cotton, and they would jump into the piles of cotton and wait for my grandfather to get off of work.
Hmm. You said music has been a big part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the first musician? Who started that for you all?
John Wesley Davis, my great grandfather. He was the one that was a violinist. He was the one that was a slave. He was the one that would go from town to town and play for the white people his fiddle. And he would do parties and that type of thing for years. And he also, being the person he was, he would steal books. He would some kind of way get a hold of books. And one white person really liked him a lot and would sneak him and show him how to read, teach him how to read. So after that, he would steal books and different things, and he would learn how to read. And they never knew he was learning all of this.
Yeah.
And once he began to really learn about history and all, that's when he decided to escape and join the Civil War.
Okay, we're gonna go into that story. How do you know this? Who told you this?
I have the whole story right here. It's in writing. My grandfather's book, my mother's father.
He wrote a book.
I have the story.
Oh my God.
And John Wesley Davis, my grandfather wrote the story about him. Yes. Yeah, I have it right here. When he was born, how he escaped, all of that. And he ended up, his name is in DC now at the African American Civil War Memorial. And that's where they have all those the Civil War soldiers.
Yeah.
That's where their names are. The statues there too. I went there, I saw that, and I found my great grandfather's name.
So,
and I cried when I saw that.
Does it say when he was born and when did he pass?
He was born. Yes, I can tell you when he was born. Is it okay to? Okay.
Yeah.
He was born in 1840 in North Carolina. His name was John Wesley Davis.
So Davis was the enslaver's last name.
That's the enslaver's name, yeah.
And
And
he was self-taught, evidently, how to play.
self-taught, yeah. And it says after receiving these primary steps in education, he said his father became a great reader. And he even stole books, magazines, newspapers, and other publications from his master and his master's children and read them daily. He read about the many events preceding the Civil War, including the fugitive slave law, the Missouri Compromise, and other events.
Mm.
These readings fired his soul so much that he decided to become a runaway slave. And there's
Okay,
a story.
before we get to the runaway, so what would he do? He would play the music at the people's house or something like that
go,
at parties?
Master would send him to parties, yes. He'd go play the fiddle.
Was he able to keep any money? Did the master have charge the people?
No. That's just what that's what he had him do.
And so how did he escape?
The story is he did kill a white man in his escape. And it just says he escaped. And it says he ran away from his master and joined the United States Army. And he often said in order that he would have a chance to fight for his freedom and for the freedom of the Black people everywhere.
Does it say something about the master was mean to him?
No. Doesn't say anything about that. No.
He wasn't married at the time or anything like that?
No, he wasn't. Not. He didn't get married until after the Civil War, yeah. And that's when he met his wife. But she had been a slave too. His wife had been a slave.
Where was he enslaved at?
He was in North Carolina. North Carolina. And he retired with benefits from the service. We have his papers. We have all of that. We have his papers. His wife, even she got the, what is it that you get, the soldiers get? She received that. Let's see. His wife says she was too young to relate to, says that she was too young to relate or share anything about slavery, but she remembered much about the progress of the war. And she had 13 children.
Oh man. Her and him did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh really? She was younger than him, evidently.
She was very young. She was young, yeah. And he died at age 57. He was 57 when he died.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have the papers of that he where she got his pension. We have that. Plus, since then, my mother and her sisters, we all got together and we belong to the Daughters of the Union. And there's several Daughters of the Union in Detroit, that are Black. But the Daughters of the Union was an all-white organization.
Really?
Yes. Roosevelt, Roosevelt's wife started and let Blacks into that. So now we are like 10 in the city of Detroit, but there's some other tents in the city too. We used to be really active, but a lot of the women in that group they've deceased. They're older. And the younger people, they're not keeping it together, which is unfortunate.
What did they do? What was it all about?
They would have programs, opportunities with the whites. They would come to Detroit. They would have conventions here. I've been to some of them. And the big thing that they did was they marched in DC when they put up the memorial for the soldiers, the Civil War soldiers in DC. And that's located in DC now. The museum and all. I don't know. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so and it's very, very interesting place. It's right near Howard University.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's I've seen it. Sure have.
It's on L Street.
Yep.
Yes, on Vermont. I didn't put down the address,
Yeah.
but that's where it is, and I've been there.
Okay.
And when we went there, in fact, I'm gonna back up because my mother and the Daughters of America of a Civil Rights Civil War went there. The whole organization, the Black organization, went to D.C. and marched over to this place where they put the statue. They marched over there. So it was quite a thing. I couldn't go at the time,
Yeah.
but my mother and her sisters, they went, and the other women in the organization. So it's a fascinating place. I took pictures of it, and I found his marker there, and I cried when I saw that. John Wesley Davis.
Uh, you cried. Why?
To see that what he believed in, that he did it, and that he was recognized along with all the other soldiers. All their names are there. All the Black soldiers from the Civil War, their names are there.
Was he a big guy in stature or anything like that? Do you remember?
No, he wasn't a big guy. He's more like my grandfather, short.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
guess for some reason, this is a crazy question. But for some reason, I wonder, why did he escape? Because he didn't have it so bad. I don't think.
Well, he didn't talk about he had it. He knew he had to sneak to learn how to read. I knew he was against all of this. That's why he escaped. So he must have lived something that he really did. He didn't want to live it. Because like I read in there that he wanted to free the Black people. And that was his way of doing it. He said, in order that he would have a chance to fight for his freedom and for the freedom of Black people everywhere. And that's why he escaped.
Okay, so what you're saying is, though, so if he was born in 40, what did you say?
He was born in 1840, North Carolina.
And so the Civil War started about 1863, something like that. He's 23 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so he escaped to join the Union service.
Yes, he did.
So the war was going on when he escaped.
It was going on. But he knew about it because he was able to read. And he read about the many the events preceding the Civil War, including the fugitive law, slave law. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But tell us about it, what you see there.
I don't know enough about it. Just saying he's with it. I don't know what the story is about that.
Yeah.
And then the Missouri Compromise and other events. So those are events that he was he knew very well what it was about. And that's why he stole books and magazines and newspapers. But he was fortunate enough that someone helped him so he could read.
Yeah.
And do these. Mm-hmm.
Does it say how he escaped? I know you talked about, with the white guy.
The story has been story has been told that he did kill a white man to escape, and that's all they said. Sometimes Black families, they don't want,
because he's in North Carolina. He's got a nice run to go to get up north.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the one thing that people have to understand. That was a long way. If you were deep in the South, you either went to Florida or you had a long way to go, or you went to the woods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the only way. It says that he entered the service as a private and was soon promoted to corporal, sergeant, and first sergeant, and remained in the service until the war ended, after which he was honorably discharged. He died on February 28, 1898, at the age of 57.
Some of what happened to him has resonated in your family. The music thing, I think, is probably, and maybe that sense of tenacity or something like that, that you could see.
My family, very strong people. They're very, very strong. And the music is very strong in our family. Many of our family members and they're college graduates, many of them. But music in our family, we've got some. You're a Stevie Wonder. Well, my niece sang with him for years and years. I'm in music. I'm a Detroit Kresge Fellow. I've been singing, working over 50 years. I've toured. My aunts, they taught at universities and they went to Black colleges.
Okay.
And that's why the music is so strong and still very, very strong. We have people in our family now that are very professionally working in music, like me and my nieces and my nephew, who is world known in music. He does that electronic music.
Yeah.
He's known all over the world. And this is stemmed from that.
So what probably happened is he did that, and then he told his son about music.
Yes, he did.
And it kind of just kept going.
Kept going.
Because maybe what happens is when I see dad playing an instrument at home, I pick up on it. Mm-hmm. And then he might tell me, hey, you pick up on the instrument, or you hear this music playing all day long and that kind of thing. And it just goes that way.
It goes that way. In our family, we're in the archives of Detroit Public Library, the Davis Family Choir. And we used to do tours all the way down to the little kids. We just have them singing. We are a performing family. That's what we do. Many of them are deceased now. Yeah. They're gone. We've, whittled down.
Yeah.
There's only a few of us left. So the ones musically that are left, we're keeping it going. I have a niece, very exceptional violin player. Another niece, her name's Penny Wells, exceptional singer in this city.
I know Penny Wells.
Yeah, well, that's my niece.
Yeah, no Penny Wells.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, excuse me, what the next question is, what did his wife do? I mean, do you know?
She stayed home, took care of the kids.
Yeah, that's what she did. Many of them. Yeah.
Yeah, she let me see. She says she was too young to relate or share anything about slavery, but she remembered much about the progress of the war. And she was still a young girl when the war ended, but like many of the girls of her day, she wanted to marry one of the soldiers. So at the age of 14, she married my father. This union was 13 children who were born.
He was 14 and he might have been 30-ish or something.
And they lived a long and happy life.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now,
it says
the papers that you have and all that, who kept them? They were in a treasure chest. How did that happen?
No, I have the original script that my grandfather, he wrote all of this while he was still living. He died in 1974. So another thing, I have an uncle who was also a playwright, and he was also an accountant. He was in business in Nigeria and all before that big problem in Nigeria. He used to write plays and that type of thing. He wrote about this. He put everything down. So that's how it was all documented. But my grandfather, I have the original script in handwriting right here that my grandfather wrote. So I have another aunt. She was very, secretarial. She made sure we all had the family tree. She made sure we all had copies of all of this. All of us have these copies. And I have his original copy right here that he wrote. She made copies for all of us. So I have it.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. But to hear go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So that's why I was able to get the Sister Strings group together, because of what he did. And so it's a group of Detroit performing artists, some of the best in the country in the group. And my niece, Tia Hannah, also plays in it too. And she's a excellent violin player. And I'm the singer. And we do music with strings, voice, and percussion. That's what we do. And we've been on the festival. There is a clip on YouTube called Naima Shamborguer Sister Strings, Detroit Festival 2020. We did a tribute to John Lewis.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell people who hear this about how this makes you feel, about researching your family, so on and so forth?
It makes me feel that I'm very honored that that step was taken where I could get this far in my life through my family's belief in freedom. My mother was an activist, and so was my dad. Right here in this city, they were very active. So that ball was always going rolling. You know, the freedom for Blacks, that was where I was raised in the home. So my mother was Dr. Cleopatra Jones, and she was very active in this city with the city council and all. She was a very active lady. People know her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. She was something else.
Yeah, sure.
She taught college until she was 94 years old. She'd have her little walker going to Wayne County Community College, walking down the hall with it. Students loved her. And she'd go in the room and she said, I got this. And they loved her.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We had a driver for her to take her because she couldn't drive anymore.
Still wanted to do it.
She was still doing it. And she stuck up for Black. She was around. You remember Irma Henderson?
Yes.
Well, that was Mama's buddy. They were partners. That's when my mother, she was a real civil rights person. When Martin Luther King was here, I was living in California, but I couldn't be here when they marched down Woodward Avenue.
Yeah.
My mom, my dad, my aunts, my uncles, they were all there. My grandfather marching down Woodward Avenue. And my mother called me. I said, boy, why did I have to be out here in California? I really hated that I missed that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I really missed it, so my family, they're very proud people. I have another aunt. She ended up in New York City and she ended up owning a music school there. I was on their board. So and then I have another aunt. Her name is Georgia Davis, very famous contralto. Let me tell you her story.
Yeah.
She went to college when she's 15 years old. Brilliant. Ended up in New York singing with the Metropolitan Opera chorus. Rockefeller gave her a scholarship. She ended up singing on the cruise ships for a long time. And then she got married. But she was a very exceptional person. Just very, well, anyway, she came along same time, Marian Anderson. They had to choose between the two. So Marian Anderson was the one that they focused on. So my aunt, equally as well a singer as Marian Anderson. Marian Anderson was wonderful. I remember her. I remember hearing her. So that's where my aunt was. And she died early. She was young when she died. She had cancer. So there's so many people in our family that were in music. It's just, sometimes I think about it, but like I said, there's a file, the Azalea Hackley file at the main library here, but it's not, they don't have that room open now because the library just don't have enough employees and city money and, that type of thing.
Sure.
So you don't get to see it. There's other vocal or choral organizations here in this city. We always had Black concerts. It was so much Black here in this city.
Right.
We didn't need to go with the white people.
Right.
We had our own stuff.
Right.
The Robert Nolan School of Music, Brazil Denard, which now that choir is still thriving.
Yes.
My sister sings with them. She's been with them for 20 years. I've been knowing Brazil. I knew them all my life. Robert Nolan School of Music, that's where we took our piano lessons. They rented the Baldwin Hall That's on the Sunday concerts. My sister, mama said, Camille and I be crawling around on the floor, little girls, and we're there that small. And we were in operas with my aunts, Carmen Jones.
Oh,
We were,
really?
we were on the stage, yes. We were little kids, we played the prize children. Yeah, we've done all of those things. And then I grew up in high school and I was in music. And I went to Central High School. And in Central, from there, I was blessed to have good vocal teachers, Black. Ended up down at WJR Radio, Make Way for Youth Chorus. And we used to go from school and then I ended up Wayne State's Honors Choir. I wasn't even in college yet. But that was a choir for all the city schools, and they brought their best there to perform in that choir. You ever hear Stanley Walden?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stanley Walden was in that choir, and he's still around. I belong to an organization now, the Detroit Black Music Association.
Okay.
So it's still thriving. That's why I got that meeting at 2:00
today. Yeah, sure.
Because they're going to have a Christmas something. But yes, I grew up, and I'm so fortunate. And I tell young people today, the young Black kids, you have no idea. You don't have it. I wish I could just go back and show you a recording of when we grew up. We had segregation, true. We had problems, yes. But there was a lot of love in the Black community too. That's another thing.
Since you brought that up, before we this may be one of the last questions. What was segregation? What do you mean? What was that? What was that problem?
We couldn't go certain places. We couldn't go. Greystone Ballroom. I was too young to go to Greystone, but Blacks couldn't go there except on Mondays. You heard Jara the other day tell that story. Well, that's very true. My mother and father used to go there and dance. They did. So the Greystone, that was a wonderful place. Skating rink, Arcadia roller rink. It was on Woodward. We could only go on there on Friday night and Sunday afternoon. There were tea houses up and down Woodward Avenue where you see the white ladies sitting there with the hats and the gloves having tea, and we would just peer in the window. We couldn't go in there. There were still places that we couldn't go.
Okay, let me stop you there. That leads to this question. One of the things that people said that hurt the Black community was desegregation. When we were able to go, we fought to go to them places, and then our places kind of lost out.
That's our fault. I agree. Because we called it getting ahead, moving ahead. We didn't think that out really good, because when we left, we forgot all about who was still there. We didn't look back. That was our fault. So, yes, I agree with that. I was an educator also. I worked for Head Start. I was a parent coordinator. And I would run into parents didn't want their kids to learn Black history and stuff. They didn't want them to learn these things. And then I started running into kids that were raised further out in the suburbs, and the parents didn't teach them anything Black about us. So that's where the downfall went. So right now today, whenever I get a chance, all the Black kids I'm around, I tell them the stories, because they don't know. And it's just unfortunate. Segregation, integration did hurt us. I go over to my old neighborhood. My friend still lives over there on Alaska and Illinois. She's still there. We went riding around. My house is gone. The whole neighborhood is just about gone.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. A lot of Blacks tried to stay. But then that's, again, integration hurt us. What kind of stories do we have in the neighborhoods now, our Black neighborhoods?
Yeah, I got you there. Have you thought of writing a book?
No, I haven't. I'm so busy with music that I never thought about it, but it'll be something. But I have my son he died last year. I have 5 books that he wrote, and that's what I need to talk to you about. They need to be published. That's what he wrote about Black people He was a phenomenal writer.
Okay.
And I'd like to share it.
Yeah, sure.
There are 5 novels I have sitting right down in my basement, and I've been trying to find out how to do them for PDF to get readers to read it and to help me get these books published, because before he died, he said, could you please at least do one? He was a fascinating young man. His name was James Griffin. He worked at the main library. When he died, the church was packed with, it was called United Nations Funeral. He knew some of everybody. He was a fascinating young man.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah,
yeah, we'll talk about that. I guess at the end of the day, y'all got lucky, but then was smart. Y'all got lucky because you had that guy in your family who started this ball rolling.
That's right. Absolutely.
Some people might not have had a person like that.
I'm sure many of them didn't. I have friends who didn't have that opportunity with that type of person in their family, and they struggle really hard. But the people that I know like that, they're business people here in this city now. They're doing very well because somebody gave them that strength.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's the catch.
Yeah, that strength. And I also believe I'm a praying person. God's in the plan.
There you go.
And that's my thing. God is in the plan. He knows what's going to happen to you before you even get here. Yeah. So I just feel like that's the push. God shows you all types of things in your life that you're going to see, but he also gives you the push.
There you go. That's the moral of the story.
Yes, it is.
That's the moral of the story. Is there a question that I have not asked you, something you want to share? Something that you all have, archives and stuff like that? Y'all got any medals, guns, any of that soldier wear, anything like that?
No, if there was some, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
You know, old houses and different families. And so then most of the family's gone. Yeah. So what is there? I'd have to ask my cousins if they have anything,
anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I
Well, hey, everybody, I told you you're going to like this because this was from the heart. This was a story to tell you how it happened in her family. And then it resonated from generations on down.
Yes.
And it was strong in her group because a lot of them picked up on that music thing and on that education tip. She told you that. Right. Somebody said, hey, this is how I'm reading, and my kids gonna read, and my kids after that gonna read. And I like music. I'm gonna tell them about this music. This music helped me in my life, made my life a little easier.
Oh, and one other thing. My father, the way he was saying, my dad was a professional photographer, and he also drove the bus in the city of Detroit. And my dad used to work for the Chronicle as their photographer. And he was an artist. We have his art all over the house and his photographs. So my dad was that type of person. That's what kept he and my mother together 64 years.
Oh, I love it.
My husband and I were together 52 years.
I love it.
So what I'm saying, because that's long lasting.
That's long lasting.
But I had to say that about my dad too. I can't leave him out because
please don't.
He was a part of this story too.
That's right.
And he could sing. He could sing.
There you go.
He was a wonderful singer, so it's a lot more about us to tell. But I had to put that in about my father.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. I love it. Everybody, strong inspirations. I'm telling you, I ain't playing with you. I got blessed by finding this lady. Hit the subscribe button on the channel. Excuse me. Hit the like button. Hit the notifications bell. Tell somebody about strong inspirations. Don't keep it to yourself. And I'm gonna put some information in the description about her, where you all could kind of follow what she's doing, her music, her group, and so on and so forth. Go to my website, businessintheblack.net. And from there, there's a link to watch the movie on Amazon. You can get the Black Business book, and you can get the They Did It book, the children's book, and you can find out about the movie that's coming out. And stay in touch with me, my brothers and my sisters. And to you, my sister, I say this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I really do. I want you to stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. I love what you're doing. I love your passion, your commitment to the young people, to telling them some history. And everybody, it ain't bragging. This is the truth.
The truth.
This is what happened.
It is.
She just wants y'all to hear how lucky she was to be born in such a family with such a matriarch as that gentleman. And it passed through all of them generations. It ain't no bragging. I'm telling you, and y'all can hear how we have done it and do it too, because it ain't never too late.
Can I still break in?
Yep.
We're world travelers all over the world. All our family ended up being world travelers.
Love it.
Been everywhere. Africa, you name it.
Yep.
Beautiful
thing.
Yes.
All right.
So
thank you.
Thank you so
much. Hey, thank you everybody for watching us again. And go to businessintheblack.net and look for and follow her too. We're gonna talk about that book, everybody. We're gonna get this out. We're gonna keep this going. So with that, I say thank you so much for being on the show. Bye-bye. We out.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you.